I want to introduce Ian Burns, an English teacher at Georgian American School. He comes all the way from USA and has been working with us for the last 4 years. He's always interesting, organized, friendly, and fun. Why did you decide to teach English as a foreign language, and why did you choose Georgian American School?
When I finished university, I wanted to become a novelist. But no one wants to read anything written by a 22-year-old with absolutely no life experience. So I thought about what could I do to make my life more interesting, so I would have something to talk about. And I decided I wanted to go abroad, and one of the ways to do that was to teach English as a foreign language.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why do students look forward so much to your lessons, and what do you do to make learning English easier?
When I prepare lessons, I try and think of how to do everything from the student's perspective.
Yeah.
How would the students learn best? If I was a student in my own class, what type of activities would I like to see? What would I be interested in? How could the teacher engage me as a student? And then I plan accordingly.
Is Georgian American School a good working place, and do you have all the necessary teaching resources?
Yeah, I've enjoyed working here so far. If I didn't, I would have left. As far as resources go, we have internet in every classroom. We have projectors that are available to use. I have my laptop. We have a couple smart boards that we can use. Yeah, we have everything I need.
What makes us different from other schools?
What I really like about working here is how much freedom the administration gives the teaching staff. If the teacher has an idea where they want to deviate from the normal teaching materials, the administration always allows them to do so. This way they can make lessons more interesting and engaging, and are able to focus on students' interests, which keeps them learning. Because if students are bored, they stop paying attention, and if students are not paying attention, they're not learning.
What would you change about our school or in the Georgian education system in general?
What I would adopt from the American school system that I went through was our ability to choose some of our own classes. Yeah. Starting in 9th grade, we're able to select a number of our classes, maybe not every class, and perhaps we need to take a history class, but I would be able to decide which type of history I want to learn, whether it be American history or world history or classical history. And that way I feel like I have more responsibility in my own, and more freedom in my own education.
How do you describe the students of Georgian American School?
The students here, they're just like any other kids I've ever met. Yeah, they like laughing, they like playing, they don't always want to be in school, their favorite subject is lunch. They're just like kids everywhere else. Yeah, kids are kids no matter which country they're in.
Everyone says that your lessons are very creative, and what makes them so special?
As I said before, I try and plan lessons from the student's perspective. So I try and incorporate games, projects. I really try and make my lessons project-based, so students need to produce something by the end of the class. So for example, today we were learning about different holidays in my 4th grade class. And one of the holidays was Grandparents' Day, which on the surface does not seem very interesting. And I had a group of 4 boys, and they had to make a poster and a presentation about Grandparents' Day. And I talked to them, and I figured out that all of their grandparents were war heroes. So they turned Grandparents' Day into a day where they were remembering their grandparents as war heroes. And they wrote, these little 4th graders wrote like, "My grandpa was a doctor in the army," and explained how their grandparents were helping injured soldiers. It was great.
Do you find it interesting to work with Georgian teachers, and how do you share your knowledge and experience?
Yeah, I love working with the Georgian teachers. They have a very different perspective on life and also education, where most of them were brought up under the Russian school system, which is quite different from our American school system. And we exchange ideas and try and take the best practices from both and incorporate them into the school.
What general advice would you give to young teachers, students, and schools?
Don't let your students get bored. If the students are bored, they stop paying attention, as I said before, and if they're not paying attention, they're not learning. For students, once students get to 11th grade, they don't want to be in school anymore. It doesn't matter how interesting the lessons are. Sometimes there are certain subjects they found out they don't like and they're never going to be interested in. But the best way to finish school is to finish school. Do your lessons, graduate so you can move on to university, and you don't have to repeat anything.